Hi there, TaffyRue here, and welcome to another exciting episode of Features by TaffyRue, where we get to put the spotlight on upcoming artists and creatives who are bubbling under. So I first met my next guest, who goes by the name Zanele, who is the brains behind ShadesBeauty Zimbabwe. I first met her when I was doing my artwork for Hold On, as well as my music video, and I needed a makeup artist. And I looked her up, and she came through, and she did an amazing job. And ever since then, I've never looked for another makeup artist. That's just how amazing she is. And we get to sit down with her and talk a little bit about makeup and even get to know her a little bit better. And she's always behind the scenes. But today we have brought her on this side of the camera, and I'm excited to have her here. Hi, Zanele.
Hi, Taffy. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you. It's such a pleasure.
I know
Thank you.
Not your norm being in front of
It's-
the camera.
I'm usually behind the scenes, like you said,
Yeah.
but it's fun.
Yes, definitely. Okay, so
Yeah.
for those people who don't know who you are, maybe you can start by telling us, who is Zanele?
Okay. So my name is Zanele Nkomo, now Kushata.
Okay.
That's my my husband's surname. So I grew up in Bulawayo.
Okay.
Yes, that's where I grew up. I speak mostly in Ndebele, but back home we are Venda, so I'm a Venda princess.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, I am a mom of two beautiful babies.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a son and a daughter. Yeah. Well, that's me.
Okay, and how did you get into makeup?
It's a funny story, really, because makeup was never something that was in the picture.
Okay.
I never thought I would end up doing makeup. Well, because I used to do my own makeup, right? And people would compliment me. Your makeup looks good. Your makeup looks good. Until one day, I remember it was when I went for my pregnancy shoot for my son.
Okay.
And I got my makeup done. And I went back to that girl and I asked her to teach me how to do makeup. When I asked her to teach me how to do makeup, it was mainly for me. Okay. I wanted to learn how to do my makeup better. But since then, I got this thing where I loved doing makeup. I started practicing. And with each practice, I got more people asking, please do my makeup, please do my makeup.
Yeah.
And my husband would push me now.
Okay.
But I didn't want to. My husband really played a big role in how all of this ended up working out, because he kept pushing. Not in a bad way, but I didn't want the pressure. I really didn't want the pressure. But, well, gentle as he is, he kept pushing and pressing until somehow one day it made sense.
Yeah.
You know, one of those days where you finally get this paycheck that makes sense. You're like, okay.
Yes.
So yeah, that's how I started doing makeup, really. Yeah.
That's amazing. Okay, so you never actually went to I don't know if they study makeup in beauty schools or whatever for makeup. Wow.
No, I didn't. But I do take master classes here and there.
Okay.
So whenever there are master classes or whenever there are makeup artists that I look up to, I do go up to them and I do master classes. So that's how I've been learning and improving my skill.
That's amazing.
Thank you.
So how long have you been doing it roughly?
I started doing makeup around COVID time. You know how much we had a lot of time in our hands during COVID time. So that's when I started doing makeup. That was around 2020, yes. But I really started doing makeup like on a professional basis end of 2021.
Okay.
Yes.
That's amazing. So did you always have like the kit, or that's when you like, I now need to just get my own kit and make this official?
So good thing is I got the kit when I was learning how to do my makeup. Remember when I was telling you, I got a friend to teach me. So I already had the stuff. And then I met Lincoln
Yeah.
Mandengu.
Yeah.
That guy really pushed me. He was my boss.
Uh-huh.
Turned friend now.
Yes.
So because he was already into photography, he made me realize there's so much more into being a makeup artist.
Yeah.
Because when I started, for me it was just let me just do makeup. Let me just get whatever I get so that I don't just sit home.
Yeah.
But when I met Lincoln, he made me realize there's so much more to this. You can actually turn this into a proper career, into something bigger than you actually think. Because then he would refer me to clients.
Yeah.
Then he would call me. He would, no, you know what? Come, I have a client. He would refer me to people. I have a makeup artist that I know. And by then, I was so scared. I was,
I think it happens. I think it happens when you do something that you didn't go to school for.
Exactly.
I think I had that experience even when I was working with Mass, when we were doing our business, photography business. You're like, should I, put myself out there because I
Right.
didn't go and study
Exactly.
this.
It's so difficult putting yourself out there, especially if it's a job where people get to judge you for what you do, because people can be tough.
Yes.
Right. So I'm one person who likes to keep to themselves. I like to keep to myself. I like my peace. I don't normally like to interact a lot. Not because I don't like to, but I think it goes back to a lot of self-doubt and just questioning yourself and wondering, am I going to do this right? Because in as much as I doubt myself, I used to doubt myself, I am also hard on myself. So when I didn't want to be at a point where people would then not be happy with what I would do, because that then would be, I wouldn't be able to handle it.
I can hear myself speaking in you because,
Right.
you want to do things well with excellence and you want to have good
Yes.
feedback,
Exactly.
So you don't want to put yourself in a place where somebody will be like, this
Right?
is not,
because taking criticism
it's hard.
It's hard. It's hard. But
Yeah.
I've grown.
Yeah.
I've grown.
How
I
have
think.
you managed to kind of manage the self-doubt and, do what you are good at?
It's been God, Taffy.
Amen.
Let me be honest. It's been God.
Yeah.
Like I said earlier, growing up, I never used to see myself as much. You understand? So I used to think, whatever I do, who cares?
Yeah.
Who would bother listening to me? Who would bother asking me to do anything for them? So it only took me stepping into doing makeup. And also I have a lot of conversations with my sister. My sister would always encourage me, you can do this, you can do this.
Yeah.
But one thing my sister never forgets to say is pray about it. So I learned to pray about almost everything. And as I grew in my journey spiritually and having a relationship with God, I began to realize that there's so much more to me, all these negative things I may think about myself, it's not God speaking. It's definitely a voice from somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's not God. So I've learned to just bring everything back to God. I cannot do this. I'm scared. I'm nervous, but take over.
Yeah.
And that really has helped me a lot.
That's amazing. Yeah. Just knowing who you are in Christ.
Yes.
I think it
Goes a
definitely,
long way.
you show up differently.
You do.
Because honestly, by yourself, you're like,
Trust me, I tried doing this life alone. You can never.
You can never.
You can never.
Yeah.
So God has really shown up in my life.
Yeah.
And I see his hand in a lot of things. But mostly when it comes to my confidence and how I approach life, really generally, it has changed a lot.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. So when you're doing makeup, what's your favorite part of doing makeup?
Skin work. I love doing the skin.
Okay.
Forget eyeshadow, forget the eyebrows. Well, I love eyebrows as well. But the skin work for me is my favorite part, because then I really prep it. I've done your makeup. I'm sure you know what I'm
Yes.
talking about.
You know, makeup artists who tell us, this will just be 1 hour, 1 hour 30, 2 hours.
I know. Well, there are some who somehow have managed to cut down their time.
Yeah.
But remember, I mentioned how much of a perfectionist I am
Yes.
because I'm hard on myself. So whenever I do something, I really want to make sure I do it to the best of my abilities. At first, I used to look at this in a negative way, but also I began to link it to that verse which says that whatever you do, do it as unto God and not unto men. So each time I am hard on myself and I try and perfect everything, I tell myself I'm doing it as unto the Lord.
Yeah.
You know, every client that sits in my chair, I tell myself I want God to be proud of the work that I'm doing, because at the end of the day, the skill I have is from Him, you know. So I want to be able to say, Father, this is what I did.
Yes.
You know, so I've managed to turn some negatives into positives as well. But when it comes to time, I think it depends with with makeup artists. I know a lot of us, we take a long time, but beauty takes time.
Yes, definitely.
It's part of the art.
Okay, so I know, like, for example, we did the Nemi shoot together, and
that was fun.
Yes, I got to
That
spend
was
the whole
fun.
day with you, right? Had you ever done something like that? Like, I know we did like 3 different looks in one day, and also talking about time. How easy was it for you to transition from into the 3 different
Into
looks?
the 3 different looks. Well, the good part is you had briefed me. You told me what you wanted. You gave me time to research.
Yeah.
So when I got to the shoot on set, I knew exactly what you wanted. I knew what was expected of me. I knew it would take a long time, but I also liked the challenge because it's something I'd never done. And it worked out well.
It did.
It was challenging, you know, because now I had to wipe off some of the makeup and then add on some stuff. You know, there was a lot of kubisa and, you know, adding on. So that part was the challenging part. And that was the part that I was most nervous about because I didn't want to mess things up. Because, you know, with makeup, it's one layer after the other, one layer after the other. So if you can't just rub something chili on top, you know.
Without removing
the
other
everything.
layers.
And makeup sometimes it patches up. So it can be hectic, it can be stressing.
Yes.
Trying to add on something, panning paita a patch is very difficult. So that is where my challenge was. That is where I was most nervous. But everything came out beautifully.
It did.
I think it was one project I just jumped into, you know, because you trusted me as well. So I think it also gave me confidence. You know what? Somebody trusts me to do this, so I might as well just try. So there was a lot of research that I had to do on the 70s look, the 80s look, and it was the 80s, 90s, and the millennium, right?
Yes, yeah.
So I had to research, but it wasn't so difficult. Really, it wasn't. It also helped me realize what I'm capable of. It helped me realize that nothing is impossible. Once you put your mind to something, you can do it. So I really loved it. And I love looking at the results now. The video is amazing. And I love that song too.
It's an amazing, it was an amazing day, and I really loved working with you. I think it's always difficult when you are putting together a team in terms of, you know, people you want to work with on a particular project, you know. So having someone you can trust, especially with that aspect of things, it was really, and because we had, you know, worked together in the past, and how you had showed up and had done your best, I think it, you know, it makes it easier for you when you're then working on more projects, because you're like, you know,
right.
I'll just call out Zanele, you know.
Yes, there's this partnership that comes with it. Yeah. Plus, you're also easy to work with. There's always this calm that you bring each time I work with you.
I always think I'm always like frantic and like,
like there's this calm that you bring. I think it's just in you. You know, working with you and with your husband. Whenever I work with you, like my heart is just at home.
Oh, that's amazing.
I don't feel pressure. I don't feel like what am I doing wrong? It's just it's like I've known you guys for years.
Yeah.
So
And even
it's
the
always easy
conversations,
working with you guys.
I'm actually happy that today we actually get to have a conversation because we've had so many interesting conversations
We have.
while we're doing the makeup. So
We have,
it's
yeah.
actually amazing that we get to bring it here. So maybe before we move on, in terms of what can somebody do, tips that you can give people who want to get someone to do their makeup, what makes your job easier?
What makes my job easier? Like as a client?
Yes, so I come to you as a client, right? And I want makeup done. What makes your job easier to produce the look that, someone will be happy with?
Well, firstly, I think it's important to know exactly what you want.
Okay.
Right? It helps me a lot to know what you want because sometimes, I'll give an example of how people normally confuse a natural look and a soft glam look.
I've seen
You
those
understand?
videos.
Yeah. So I think it's very important for somebody to know what exactly they want. That helps me so I don't mess up because I'm human.
Yeah.
I might just think you mean natural, like no contouring, nothing, and yet you mean soft glam, So maybe it's important for you to bring a picture or at least do a bit of research before you engage a makeup artist. You understand? Because we work differently. The way makeup is art, so we all express it ourselves differently. I am sure anyone who's listening would agree with me, Kuchi. There are different makeup artists for different occasions. You understand? Inini, I'm more on the soft side. I'm more on the more subtle. Yes, you can tell there's makeup, but I'm more on the subtle side compared to some of my colleagues. You understand? So you need to know what kind of makeup artist you want for whatever look that you want. So doing a bit of research is important. Also, just know what makeup entails, right? Because the last thing we would want is for you to be shocked when you then get your makeup done.
Yeah.
Didn't you know what's happening? Some people want to look the same. That's natural look base, right? And then some people just want a little bit of elevation, but not too different.
Yes.
And then there's people who want full glam, right? Remember I mentioned, Inina, I'm more on the soft side.
Soft side, yeah.
So even my full glam is not the full glam you would get somewhere else.
Yeah.
Because I think I'm just light-handed. And I think as an artist, you express yourself the way you want people to know you. You also express yourself the way you are. Because I love subtle makeup, I think that's how I express myself as well. So do your research, just find out what contouring is, find out what highlighting is, find out what works for you. You don't really have to be a makeup artist or dive into what makeup artists do, but, just read around.
Yeah.
And then that will help you. Also, the other thing I would say, be punctual.
Yes.
Keeping time is important because, like we were saying, it can take about an hour 30 to do makeup. Because for me, I'll speak for myself. I normally want to take my time and prep your skin, because I want that makeup to last. And I want your makeup to really look like your skin. I always tell my students, Kuchi, I don't want makeup that looks like a mask. Your makeup shouldn't be a mask. It should blend with your skin. It should really be absorbed into your skin. So when somebody looks at you, they do a double take. Is that your skin or, that kind of a thing. So I really take my time and I love to see my work coming out looking perfectly. So please give me the time to actually perfect my work. I know time is a variable, and sometimes you may not really have the time. So I'm always ready to improvise and say, okay, since we cannot have 1 hour 30, maybe 45 minutes to an hour, yes. So things are not always constant. But if we can, if I let you know, let's meet at 9, guaranteed I'll be there quarter to 9, so I can set up. When I say 9, I mean the brush is touching your face at 9. So I'm big on time.
Okay.
I love clients who keep time. That makes my work easy. And you won't have to be rushing. I need to go,
Exactly.
because makeup is about beauty. Beauty is about power as well, So you want to be able to look at yourself in the mirror and feel, I look beautiful.
Yeah.
And walk into whatever event you're going into feeling beautiful and confident. Also, the last thing would be phones. I know sometimes we get to do our makeup and we're on the clock, sometimes you're working, but it's really helpful if, like I said, if we start our makeup on time, we're not rushing, then we can be able to put our phones, aside and work. That helps me, so I don't have to be saying, lift your head, lift your head. So those are a few things that I would say help to make my job easier.
Ah, nice. Yeah. So, doing a bit of research, right? Then being punctual.
Yes.
And then phones.
Yes. Try and stay away from your phone. You might just get your appointment cut short, because I'm just working, And then the last thing, would be, don't talk to me. I get carried away while I'm kidding. I always say this to my friends. They say, "Oh, guys, Nemi." I'm mean, because when I start talking, I have fun and then I forget I'm working. But no, that's not what I'm not saying don't talk to me, but it's just on the lighter side of things. Yeah.
All right. No, that's amazing. Okay, so you were talking about how you have makeup artists for different events and the difference between soft glam and natural look and things like that. I had a question for you. I don't know if you can answer this for me.
Right.
And also because I've done weddings as well, I've had a couple of brides, not a lot, who are like, they're not allowed to do makeup because obviously faith reasons. They're like, I know, I can't do makeup and stuff. What is there a balance between, because obviously some people are like, makeup makes you, other guys, men who like deceiving. Deceiving people.
Right. Okay, yeah.
And then, looking beautiful, where's the balance between makeup, the world of makeup and doing makeup and being natural, loving the way God made you.
Loving yourself the way you are. Okay, I like to give an example of how you can have a beautiful garden. But as long as you don't prune around it, as long as you're not watering and weeding things out, you can have the flowers, you can have the grass and all of that. It's God made it like that. But it needs our hand to, prune around and keep your garden looking beautiful. It's the same thing with us, We look beautiful without makeup. But makeup is just that one thing. That's when we prune. That's when, we're just hiding a few flaws, imperfections, something like that. That is not to say we are saying there's something wrong with us, but you're just enhancing your beauty. Do you understand? So I think you can be able to balance. You can balance makeup, having a full face of makeup and keeping your natural beauty, like protecting your beauty or maintaining it rather, by making sure, like I said, just make sure you know just the amount of makeup that you like. You understand? There are people who don't want to change. I think I mentioned this before. There are people who don't want to change. So that now means we can just use a little bit of makeup. If you have spots, if you have blemishes, if you have uneven skin tone, then we can come in with the concealers and the foundations, just to make your skin look blemish-free, flawless, right? Without really altering your look. What alters my looks are then the things that we do to sculpt the face. That's when we're now changing things, right? So I would say makeup it depends on whoever you are. You can customize it without feeling like you've changed your looks, right? If you're a bride who doesn't want to look like they have makeup on, we can do that. We can achieve that, right? If you're someone who says, you know what, I really want to look different. I've had clients who say, make me look like Ndrikachi Dodi, you know. They are the clients who want that.
Yeah.
We can do that, you know. And then there's clients who just want to enhance something, their looks. So you can strike a balance. Just as long as you know what you want. It still goes back to knowing what you want. And I don't think there's anything wrong with putting on your makeup and looking good. Prune your garden, look good, you know, because the truth is, once you have your makeup on, your confidence, you know, your confidence goes up a notch, you know. You feel powerful, you know, like, I'm really pretty after all. You know, it's just like when you get your hair done, right? We can't, especially with our hair, our black hair, you can't just leave your hair and go, you know.
That's how God made it.
That's how God made it. We still have to take care of our hair. We have to braid our hair, you know, so that we can look presentable. We still have to bath, you know. So I take makeup as one of those things, you know. You're just trying to make sure you still look good in a way that represents you. You understand? So that's how I think you can strike the balance between looking natural and having makeup that you can say, I like this. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense.
That definitely makes sense. I actually never thought of it like that. I like the analogy that you've used there in terms of the garden can still have the flowers, it can still be beautiful, but you need to still take care of it. You still need to prune the flowers. And you need to do the ridges and make sure that it looks...
So it looks nice, you see. So, that's how I see makeup. That's how my world is. Everybody's my garden.
Nice. Yeah. Okay, so you have your business, ShadesBeauty. Where did that name come from?
ShadesBeauty, because every woman of every shade is beautiful. So that's how I came up with the name.
Oh, nice.
Like, I'm working with women of different shades, right? I think once I stepped into the world of makeup, I realized, it's not just one complexion. We just normally think, like I'm dark, you know.
Yes.
But there's so many shades, you know, in between. There's my undertones, you know. We can both be light, but somebody is light, but they have like this neutral undertone. Somebody has a very warm undertone. So there's so many shades to us, and I think also it represents how different we are as human beings. You know, we're so diverse. You know, working with black women, back when I started, I thought just having 4 shades is enough. 2 are the dark, 2 are the light. Then I can do my makeup. But like I said, as I stepped into the world of makeup, it was like, you know, this world where I'm like, so this is what's happening. So people are this different. So that's how I came up with the name ShadesBeauty.
So how do you, so for us, we have a situation like when we take photos and stuff, people are like, I want you to come and take my photo and stuff, right? How have you been able to, or are you able to turn it into a business where you don't have to be the one physically showing up to do people's makeup? How is that in the world of business for you?
I'll be honest with you. I am looking into doing that, getting someone who I'm going to teach how to do makeup my way, you know, where we have like a signature look for ShadesBeauty. But I'm scared, right? Because I know there's always going to be that thing. I don't want an assistant. And I'll be honest, I've done that too, where I've gone to a hairdresser and then she says, no, I'm tied up, but my assistant is there. And I'm like, no, you know what? I'll wait for you. You know, so it's a very difficult thing. But I think as as people who get my services from service providers, we need to be more open-minded. We need to be more accepting. We also need to give people a chance because that person also needs to learn as well. So I don't know how I'm going to go about that, but I'm willing to try and see how things are going to be. Also, there's that thing, I also want to be in control of my things. So I don't know if this person is going to do things the way I want them done.
Yeah.
So my fears are also my clients' fears.
Yeah.
So I can relate to my clients. But I think it's all about giving each other a chance.
Yeah.
And we see how things go. Let's not just condemn people before we know what they're capable of. Because you might just find out my assistant, I probably trained them for a year.
Yeah.
I mean, a year is a long time.
It's a long time.
So probably they now know what to do. So I just think we just need to give each other grace and find out, if something doesn't work out for you, I'm happy to say, you know what, it's okay. Don't pay. Here's your balance.
Yeah.
I'll do your makeup next time, stuff like that. So I think we just need to help each other out on that aspect. It will help a lot of businesses grow because trying to maintain a business only one,
Shishani,
it's difficult.
It's very difficult.
It is.
And, because you also want to be able to, like, I know you work probably on Saturdays and, you also want to spend time with your family. There are also family functions that are happening, so you want a situation where you're able to actually live your life and also have your business working for you,
Yes.
So I definitely agree with that, where we need to be offering or giving grace to these small business owners who are trying to, hand over some of the responsibilities that you have in your business to somebody else, and also empowering other people. You're able to employ other people and grow and be able to be in more than one place at the same time.
True. A good example of that is last year. I was pregnant last year, and it was a difficult pregnancy. I couldn't really work, so having somebody would have come in handy.
Exactly.
But because of my fears, I didn't have that time. That person, I wasn't ready with that person, so it didn't happen. But working wega means when you're sick, your business is sick.
Yes.
When you are away, your business is away.
Yes.
You understand? So it really, it has a big impact on the business.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But hopefully it will work out in terms of, like you're saying, training. And you mentioned that you also have lessons, right?
Yes.
How do you, what will you be teaching in those lessons? Are they master classes? What exactly do you do in your lessons?
I love teaching. I love teaching. It's, I think one day I might just stop doing makeup and teach. So what I do with my classes is I teach straight from beginners to professionals.
Okay.
So I have classes where I'm teaching beginners, people who've never touched a brush in their lives, people who say, I have an interest in makeup, but I do not know where to start. So I have classes for those. I have advanced classes where you know how to do your makeup, you have like an idea, but you just want to finesse your skills, right? That's a separate class. And then I also do professional classes. However, the professional classes are not like professional in the sense where you get a certificate. It's a certificate of attendance because I myself am not like a professional, like dictionary kind of professional. Like I said, I am self-taught. I've learned from master classes and all of that. I just do not have the qualification of a professional makeup artist. I know we tend to use these terms lightly. I'm a chef, I'm a makeup, I'm a professional, but so my certificates that I give are not like professional, but the class is called a professional class.
Okay.
Because then I teach you how to do makeup on other people, right? I teach you how to be a makeup artist. So it's not just what to do, it's how to carry yourself, what you need to do to be a proper makeup artist. I share a lot of tips on how that helped me coming from the time where I started doing makeup and to where I am right now. So yeah, those are the 3 classes that I offer. I offer them as one-on-ones, and then normally from one Saturday to the other, they normally have my specific dates, but I normally have my classes on weekends where people can come in and learn as a group. So you can come in as a group of friends, you can come in by yourself, but there will be other class students. It's fun, learning with other people around, and you're encouraging each other and you're teaching each other.
Yeah.
No, but you was and all of that. So that's what I do.
Okay. Do you
Yeah.
think you are a better teacher or
Not a makeup artist?
Yes.
No, I think I'm good at both. I think I'm good at both because Shwaga Siana, when I'm in my element, I'm doing makeup. I'm just doing makeup.
Yeah.
But when I'm teaching, I feel like I'm ministering
Okay.
because I am I'm giving something of myself to somebody else. I get to practice a lot of fruits of the spirit. I get to practice to be patient because sometimes I just don't understand. A normal person wouldn't understand. Why can't you just draw your eyebrow? But I've learned to be patient and understand. People learn things differently, so I think for me, teaching is a whole different thing from doing makeup. I'm pouring myself into somebody else. And I want them to leave, knowing that I gave them something. Also, it's not just about teaching. Come, let me teach you. For me, it's the different people I meet. I know I'm helping somebody be confident.
Yeah.
I'm boosting somebody's confidence. I know I'm helping somebody, be it a postpartum mom who's trying to get out of the house and they just want something they can do. I know me being there is I'm keeping them company and I'm showing them that, you know what, you may be drowning, but you're still good at something. So I feel like when I teach, I speak to different people. I speak to different things in different people's lives, and I touch a lot of aspects in people's lives. So that's why I'm saying I think I'm good at both because those are two different things for me.
All right. So now we have come to the part in the show where we get to switch roles.
Right.
And the interviewer becomes the interviewee, and you get to ask me some questions. I don't know if you have any questions for me, Zanele.
Well, it's more not so much of a question, but it's something I would like us to talk about. I remember there was one video that you made where you spoke about how you always wanted to be in control. It spoke to me because I'm like that, right? And I just want you to tell me how you managed to get out of that, or that is if you got out of it completely, or how you're managing with that, because I'm one person who always wants to be in control. I always want things to happen a certain way.
Yes.
And if things are outside my control, then I feel sick to my stomach. I feel like I'm losing control, like it's Mayday for me. So I just want to speak to you on that level, from one mother to the other, as a wife, as a mom. How do you go about it as an entrepreneur, as an artist? How do you balance that? How do you do it?
Wow. That's a
You didn't
good
see this
question.
coming,
I
did
did
you?
not see it coming. When you post such videos online, you don't know that people are actually listening.
Right.
So it's actually quite interesting that you have brought that one up. Wow, yes. Like you're saying, when you are, I'm a perfectionist, like literally.
I can relate.
That's why I was like, you're speaking to me when you're talking about, doing things, according to the book, and just trying to, and also being as a Christian, one of the verses that really speak to me are, the verses you're talking about, how doing everything unto the Lord and not for man, and, just doing things with your whole heart.
Right.
And that is something that I have strived to do for the longest time. But I think it has also, I can't say handicapped me or prevented me from, like you're saying, letting go and of the reins, because it's very stressful being in control of everything.
It is.
Because
it is.
nothing ever really works out in the way that
You're right.
that
You're
you
right.
want it to work out, right? And I think God has taken me on a journey. So it's not over. I think there are levels to control. Like, and God is always, when I've learned the lesson of, okay, this I've let go. So like, for example, one thing that I've always struggled with in terms of control is like my voice.
Right.
Like, it never really does what I want it to do.
Okay.
And it's those things, like, for example, even when I'm leading worship, and you're like, you when in practice you sing it one way, and then you're on stage and it does its own thing. And I'm always disappointed when I then, the advent of church online, you can always go back and listen to
Right.
the way you were singing. But you'll find that the times that I have, been hard on myself and been like, Taffy, the way you sang today was just horrible. Those are the times when, somebody comes and they're like, thank you so much for singing, that song really spoke to me. And you're like, that spoke to you,
Right.
and because like you're talking about earlier about self-doubt, you're like, but God has been teaching me that he's able to use every situation
Amen.
for his glory.
Right.
So even when I feel like it's not perfect, God can still use it. So that's the journey I have been on, that God has been taking me on, in terms of, I just trust in the fact that I'm able to use what you have offered with all your heart and use it for my glory. And so I can't say that I've learned to completely let go of everything. There's so many areas in my life that, I've wanted to have control over, but it just doesn't work. Especially being a mother. Hey.
Right. That's a whole different level of not being in control.
Of not being in control, because you do your best, to
That's
raise
all we can
these
do.
little
At the end of the
babies.
day, that's all we can do. Yeah.
That's all you can do. The choices that they then make, that is now up to them, And
Right.
I'm feeling this when my child's not even a teenager yet. I wonder what life will
What's
be
going to
like.
happen?
I'm
Yeah.
just praying to God, as long as you put it in God's hands, I think at the end of the day, God will definitely use that for his glory.
Amen.
Yeah.
Okay.
How have you dealt with control issues in your life?
I'm still trying to deal with it. I still am.
Yeah.
It's. I'm going to sound like I'm repeating myself, but like you're saying, it's all about giving it back to God, because He's the author and finisher of it all.
Yeah.
He made me. He knows my flaws better than I know myself. He knew when he was creating me, he could say, no, she's going to have my shortcomings and this and that. I think just giving it back to him. I've learned to just surrender, And it's interesting when you were saying, there are times when you then run back my worship sessions and you're like, I sang horribly.
Yeah.
But it's just when we're listening, we're like, Taffy is acing this. So now it just clicked in my mind. This is probably how I am as well. So sometimes I can do makeup and then I go back to the pictures. I'm like, what did I do? I start looking at the smallest things. I should have done this.
Yes.
I should have done that. Only for the client to just come back to me. I should have, you know what? That makeup was good.
Yes.
She might even refer like 2-3 other people.
Exactly.
Sometimes you might even get a tip because you did a good job. So listening to you made me realize that that might just be me as well. I go back and I start beating myself up. I should have done this way. And yet the world doesn't even see it like that.
It doesn't.
The world just loves you and accepts you as you are. So I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah.
I'll make that one of the nuggets that will help me through when I'm overthinking.
Yeah.
One of these days, because I know soon I will be.
We are always there. I think there's always
Yeah.
a test of our faith and character every single day. Something comes
Right.
that really brings up some of these things that probably God wants us to work on,
Right.
and
Right.
just trusting Him and letting go and
Right.
surrendering to Him, like you mentioned.
And it wasn't until you mentioned it in that video where I started realizing, there's something wrong. And I thought it was me being on top of things. So that's why your video really spoke to me, because I didn't see anything wrong with it. I just thought, no, I'm supposed to be like that.
Yeah.
Sometimes we take things the wrong way. Even when you read about that Proverbs 31 woman, we tend to think she was always busy. She was always looking for land to buy. She was always getting up in the morning.
Yeah.
But then that is not a life. And I don't think that's what the Bible meant. She was a woman who was grounded and stable and knew how to do her things at the right time. Because sometimes when you're too busy, then you don't even get time to yourself. You don't get time to be with God. You understand?
Yes.
I remember this one time where I read something that said, Kuti, we often think God does not speak to us, but we're too busy, so we don't even have the time to listen and hear Him speaking on us. So overally, just always wanting to be in control means your hands are always full.
Yeah.
Your plate is always full. You're trying to control this. Hi, Amy, where am I? Oh yeah, I'm trying to cook. I'm trying to be the best wife, the best mother, a good friend. I'm on the phone, and so a lot of things will take our time, such that by the end of the day, we are drained by pouring into other people and trying to make sure their lives are okay.
Yeah.
And we forget to take care of ourselves, not just physically but spiritually.
Yes.
So that's I really noticed that there was something wrong with the way I do things. And since then, that's when I think I started praying about it, actually making it something to pray about and, talk to God about.
Wow.
So it was,
I really get the video. When you're sharing a story or you're sharing a part of yourself, you think that you're the only one who's going through a particular thing. So yeah, like I'm encouraged to share more of my testimonies.
Yeah,
I
true.
guess
You never know
because
who
you
you're
never know
speaking
who.
to.
Yeah, who you're speaking to.
Yeah. So my other question would be, how do you balance work, being a mom, being a wife, in this economy? Things are tough. Yeah, trying to stay sane. How do you do that? What's your take on everything?
Yeah, that's another good question. Balance is something that we hear a lot of. I guess I heard somewhere. I think I mentioned it in another podcast where I heard Dolly Parton saying, "You can have everything, but not all at once."
Right. Okay.
When I heard that, it was mind blowing because for me, you're thinking balance is being able to do everything, give equal energy to everything at the same time.
Yes. Okay.
Whereas, life happens in seasons, and
right.
there's a season for you to pour into your business and your work. Then there's a season where you need to pour into, like, for example, when your kids are babies, that's the season to be pouring into them, to be looking after them. True. They're going to grow up and they're going to be able to become a bit more independent and do some of the stuff that you do for them by themselves. But when they can't, you need to take up that role as their mother. And I learned that lesson when Anna was still younger. I was upset for a while with God, and I'm like, Mari, I want to do ministry, I want to do music, I want to do this, and I guess I'm always saying I felt like I'd idolized that area of my life, the music side of my life. And God was just like, no voice for now. do this
Yes,
mother
I think I
thing.
remember you mentioned
Yeah.
it sometime that your voice, it just,
Yes, it just
it
went.
just
I
went.
could not sing, and
Oh,
I couldn't do
wow.
ministry in the way that I wanted to do it.
Oh my goodness.
But that time was actually the moment, the time that I then was like, you know what, God, I'm going to be a mother. This is the
Right.
time for me to be a mom, you know. And, you know, Anna Akazokura, she's now doing, you know, making on bed. And,
Here we are.
you know, here
We're
we
working.
are. Exactly, you know. So
Yeah.
I think for a lot of mothers, I think we're guilted into thinking that we are not doing ministry or we're not doing work when we are taking time to invest in our children and raising them in the way that God has called us to raise them.
Yeah.
So when it comes back to balance, you know, there will be a time for everything. You know, now that she's at school, for example, I'm able to work
Do a lot of
during the
things,
time that she's at school. You know, when she comes back home, I then need to shift my attention and be that mother. You know, and the same with all the other areas in life where there is a season for everything. And when the season for that has come, focus on that.
Right.
Because the
Embrace
season
it.
will pass and the next season will come. And I think that then allows for the balance in your life.
Oh, that's a lot of wisdom.
Yeah.
There's a lot of wisdom to it. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if you have any more questions.
No.
Maybe as we close, one lesson that you have learned from makeup that you can apply to life in general.
Something I've learned from makeup. I wasn't ready for this question. Sorry, I think. I don't know. You know, as I work, there's different circumstances each time. I think, like we're talking about being in control of things, I've just learned to compose myself and deal with things one thing at a time. I don't know, Taffy. There's so many things.
Yes.
I don't know what to say. I've really learned from my world of doing makeup, but I think what I can say is I've become a better person. I've become a better person just by putting myself out there. You know, I'm no longer the same person. I used to be someone who just always wanted to be, you know, in one place. But now I'm able to have conversations. Now I look forward to having conversations because each person I meet, you know, there's always something. There's always a take home, you know, something I can take away with me and vice versa as well. So I think doing makeup has allowed me to actually be what I thought I wasn't. And I love that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much for this conversation, Zanele.
Thank
I
you,
know you were
Taffy.
worried about
I was.
just taking 5 minutes, but it ended up being a full conversation and I
was.
thoroughly enjoyed it. Thank
I
you so
enjoyed
much
this
for coming.
too. It was lovely. It was lovely.
Awesome.
I can't believe it has come to an end already. But it was
Yes.
lovely being here. Thank you so much for thinking of me. Thank you for inviting me. I had a wonderful time.
Awesome,
Yeah.
awesome. Thank you so much for coming. There you have it. There you have it. Do everything unto the Lord. You've heard it for yourselves. And until next time, goodbye.